Good evening, I'm Rodney Dunigan. We're following a number of developing stories tonight, including a rise in car break-ins across Franklin County. Investigators say most of the crooks ripping off guns from cars are kids. We're looking into the effort to keep those weapons out of the wrong hands. Lawmakers in danger. We're seeing more threats against elected officials across the country and right here in Central Ohio. We're diving deeper into the efforts to keep them safe and also what's behind the recent rash of violence.
As showers and thunderstorms roll through the area, we are wet for now and we're going to be steamy later. Coming up, the updated forecast with some of the warmest heat index numbers of the season so far.
And OSU football legends reunited on the golf course. It was an afternoon of fun, all for a good cause. Those stories and breaking news as it happens right now on Good Evening Columbus.
Good Evening Columbus on ABC6 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 7. I'm Rodney Dunigan. It's another gray evening with some showers popping up in some places. Let's start off with Chief Meteorologist Marshall McPeak, who is following everything for us tonight. And Marshall, I guess we're getting a lot of rain in some areas and definitely a lot of heat.
There is.
Eventually, they're going to get caught. The Carmel's going to have their day.
We're on your side tonight looking into an uptick in car break-ins around Franklin County. Police tell us most of the crooks ripping off those guns from cars over the past 2 years have been kids. Tonight we're getting more insight on what police and prosecutors are doing to keep those weapons out of the wrong hands. Steve Levine has the full story.
News.
Developing tonight, we're hearing from the family of a recent high school graduate who died after a shooting over the weekend. The young man was one of 7 people hurt during that incident. Aaron Simonak has the latest on the investigation. All of the other victims are expected to recover. Columbus police are asking anyone with information to call them or Crime Stoppers. The man accused of a deadly shooting spree in Minnesota will face federal and state murder charges. He was in federal court this afternoon and remains in federal custody. He's accused of shooting and killing a state representative and her husband at their home and wounding a state senator and his wife at another home.
It is a frightening time we are living in. Political violence is prevalent, and the way we talk to and about each other has raised the temperature to unfathomable levels. We cannot continue on this way.
Investigators say he also had a hit list of other lawmakers, including prominent Democrats and people with ties to the pro-choice movement. And here in Central Ohio, security at the State House is being beefed up following those shootings. Kirsten Lindquist has the very latest. Neither the State Highway Patrol or the governor's office are releasing details about their security plans. The defamation case filed by former Mount Carmel Dr. William Husel is now over. A judge dismissed his lawsuit against Mount Carmel and Trinity Health. Husel claimed the company created a false media campaign that led to his trial on 14 counts of murder. He had been accused of causing the overdose deaths of patients. The judge in that defamation case ruled that opinions stated by the company were not defamation. Still to come tonight, a new documentary on the sexual abuse of Ohio State athletes is set to debut tomorrow. A victim of Dr. Richard Strauss has already seen it and shares his reaction tonight with us. The story of a doctor who sexually abused athletes at Ohio State is about to be seen across the country. Surviving Ohio State is a documentary about that scandal involving Dr. Richard Strauss. Tom Bosco has a preview. All new tonight, Ohio State's loss is Alabama's gain. An administrator with OSU is the new president of the University of Alabama. Dr. Peter Moeller has been with OSU for 15 years, serving as a research leader and as the chief scientific officer for the OSU Wexner Medical Center. Well, a number of OSU football legends reunited on the golf course today. The former Buckeye Stars picked up the clubs for a pretty good cause. Kellyanne Stitz has that full story.
The Morrow County Sheriff seeing the man whose name he said he would never speak in court. Tonight, Brian Wilson pleading not guilty to the charges against him, charges that could lead to the death penalty if he's convicted. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm Jessica Ralston.
And I'm Rodney Dunigan. Wilson is accused of shooting and killing Deputy Daniel Shear after a confrontation 3 weeks ago. He appeared in court in Morrow County in a wheelchair. He was shot in the leg and in the arm during that exchange of gunfire with the deputy on Memorial Day. Wilson said nothing in court today. His attorney entered a not guilty plea.
Just got to learn patience, and I've never been one for patience, but this will definitely teach you some. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process, unfortunately, but in the end, hopefully justice will be served.
Wilson is being held on a $9 million bond, up from the $5 million at his initial court appearance. He is scheduled to be back there in August. Stay with us as we track the latest developments.
All right, time now for a look at the forecast. Let's take a live look over the city of Columbus. It has been a hot and humid day, and some communities have seen a bit of rain as well.
Chief Meteorologist Marshall McPeak is here. We do have some showers.
All right, thank you, Marshall. Developing tonight, the number of victims is rising following the flash flooding in Ohio County. We've learned that 7 people have died, and at this hour, the search is underway for a man who is still missing.
The danger is not over yet. These hard-hit areas could see rain and storms through at least Thursday.
And we're hearing from a family whose life will never be the same. They lost their 19-year-old son and their home. This all happened in the blink of an eye. Donna and her son Travis were upstairs when suddenly they were underwater.
The house went off a foundation. We sit there and tilted. The walls opened up and it was a battle from there. I had to push away because I was supposed to hold on to my son. He said, "Don't let go," but I had to. And we found each other again and he said, "Mom, just swim, swim." I said, "I'm trying, baby, I'm trying." And then I just kept going underwater. We got separated.
Certainly a heartbreaking situation for those folks. Donna held onto a tree for as long as she could before the rushing water carried her away. Get this, about 5 miles away. But Travis, who would have turned 20 years old next month, did not survive. The family is still searching for their 3 dogs and just hoping to recover from all of this. Happening right now, leaders in Franklin Township are meeting to decide which of its 2 fire stations will have to close, the location on Frank Road or the one on Sullivan Avenue. The actual vote has been pushed back until tomorrow. We're taking a live look inside that meeting where neighbors are sharing their thoughts. Back in May, voters in the township shot down a levy that would have funded the department. Cutting a fire station would also cut half of the department's resources as well as half a dozen firefighters, meaning surrounding departments will simply have to pick up that slack.
The biggest concern is basically the amount of runs that one of our stations does. The rest of the stations on the west side have to make up those runs, and they're going to be busy, so response times are going to suffer.
The fire department has another levy on the ballot in November. If it doesn't pass, the department leaders say they will be forced to make more cuts. Again, the trustees will vote on which station will close tomorrow morning. And tonight in Reynoldsburg, the Board of Education is set to meet in about 30 minutes. Members are looking to ask voters for more funding as well. Back in November, a levy issue was not passed by voters, which forced the district to make millions of dollars in spending cuts, and a number of teachers also lost their jobs. School board members will be voting on the possibility of putting yet another levy on the ballot for the coming year. That meeting starts at 6:30. Of course, we'll let you know what happens tonight at 11. On New Tonight, the debate over property tax reform is leading to major concerns over possible financial issues for local governments, and that includes Franklin County.
Mike McCarthy spent the day looking into those growing concerns. Abused athletes at Ohio State will be shared with a national audience.
The new documentary, Surviving Ohio State, debuts on HBO. Local attorney Rocky Radliff has been telling his story for years now. He was an OSU wrestler in the 1990s and was one of the many victims of Dr. Richard Strauss. Strauss used his position as a team doctor to sexually abuse hundreds of athletes during exams. It's a story that Radliff says hopes will put more pressure on the university.
Still ahead, shelters seeing a rise in animals abandoned on their doorsteps.
It's already against the law to dump your pet somewhere, but tonight there are calls for tougher penalties. That story coming up in 2 minutes.
Completely, showed no care, no concern, and the neighborhood people actually saw her. She just took them out, opened the doors, and got in her car and left. So absolutely no concern whatsoever.
Tonight we're on your side with a concerning rise in animals being abandoned at shelters across central Ohio. It is against the law here in the state of Ohio to dump animals without continued care.
But a cat rescue in Delaware County says the penalties aren't strong enough to stop this from happening. Aaron Simonek shows us the problem.
This is pretty exciting. Tonight, Ohio State's women's volleyball coach is thankful for a massive investment in the team.
The program getting a piece of the $18 million pie through the direct revenue sharing at Ohio State, set to begin July 1st. Kellyanne Stitz has more from the Covelli.
Good evening. I'm Rodney Dunigan. We're tracking a number of developing stories tonight, including investigating the cost of crime. It turns out lengthy investigation could be costing you, the taxpayer, millions of dollars. We're watching your money. And a man charged with raping 2 women in their Easton homes. The way investigators say he tricked the women into opening their doors.
Sunny and pleasant right now across central Ohio. Enjoy it because we have a big warm up on the way. We're going to talk about how hot it gets and weather.
Also tonight, dozens of teens out past curfew in last weekend's deadly shooting. We're on your side finding out what city leaders are doing to prevent something like this from happening again. Those stories and breaking news as it happens right now on Good Evening Columbus.
Good Evening Columbus on ABC6 starts now.
And tonight, cleanup efforts are underway following a night of heavy rain and wind. As we take a live look over the city of Columbus tonight, at this hour, there is still a number of families, of course, across the region without power tonight. Now that the storms, though, are clearing up, the heat is on the way. Meteorologist Jennifer Herbert tracking things for us tonight. Jennifer, so if we want to get out on the patio tonight, definitely the night to do it.
Get on the ground! Down, show your hands! Chopper 5. Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
Last week, teens were involved in a wild shooting at Lincoln Park on the city's south side. Tonight, 2 teenagers are facing some pretty serious charges following this incident. And then there was this incident just this past weekend.
Hey, where'd they go? Where'd they go? Hey, where'd they go? No! Back up, back up. Hey, where'd they go? Does anybody know where the shooters went?
A downtown shooting over the weekend involving a group of kids. In total, 8 people, all teenagers, were hurt. And tonight, the local police union is speaking out with concerns over the spike in recent teen violence. Some are asking the question why those kids were out so late. Tonight, we're looking closer into if all of this could have been prevented. Erin Simonek has the full story.
I'm Erin Simonek, ABC6 News.
And we are still waiting to get that list of curfew violation citations from the city. Remember, you can always get updates on this story with the ABC6 app. Tonight, this man right here, 21-year-old Isaiah Sewell, is charged with multiple counts of rape. This all happened at his apartment complex in Easton. According to court records, he posed as a pizza delivery driver last September, getting a woman to open her door. Then he forced his way into her home and hit her and tried to assault her. She screamed and ran off. Police later found a latex glove matching Sewell's DNA. Then, last month, another woman reported a man banging on her door, posing as a maintenance man investigating a leak. Documents say she opened that door and he threatened her with a box cutter, tied her up, demanded money, and then assaulted her. He is set to be in court later this month. Developing tonight, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office says that millions of dollars will likely be spent because of bad decisions from a small group of people. Now, you may remember that this man here, Devontae Dixon, is accused of shooting 2 police officers last month. He was on the run for about 48 hours. Now, he was tracked down at the home of this woman, Jayla Cole. Now, investigators say that she was aware that Dixon was on the run. She's behind bars tonight with a $50,000 bond. She's facing up to 10 years in prison if convicted. And take a look at these people. These 8 people right here, all facing some pretty serious charges for helping Dixon. This investigation now spans more than 3 weeks, and there could be more suspects added to that list. Mike McCarthy on your side tonight, watching your tax money.
We're not going to let...
Tonight, Blendon Township officer involved in that high-profile shooting is now on unpaid leave following budget cuts. The Board of Trustees voted this week to change the employment status of Officer Connor Grubb from paid to unpaid administrative leave. It all comes after the recent failure of a police levy. Grubb is charged with felony assault, murder, and involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say that he shot and killed Takaya Young in August of 2023 as she drove her vehicle into him in the Kroger parking lot off of Sunbury Road as he tried to stop her from shoplifting. His trial is expected to start in November.
They need to do something. They need to do something about those laws.
Pretty soon, federal law enforcement agents can possibly get the green light to make arrests inside of hospitals right here in the state of Ohio. Tonight, we're looking closer into why at least one lawmaker says the change is needed. Steve Levine has that story.
So free until we're all free. And we're not free yet. There are too many disparities.
Today is Juneteenth, the nation's newest federal holiday. It's a day for celebration and also to remember the end of slavery here in the U.S. In Dublin, an educational open house is held every year teaching about Juneteenth and its history. Special events are also held at the Ohio History Connection. Today we spoke with people who say that this day should serve as a reminder that there is power in telling your story.
We carry our history with us. It's in our movement, and I hope that people feel reminded of their power, their stories, their ancestors, and where it can actually go as we move forward.
Organizers of local events say education is key in spreading the importance of this holiday. And it doesn't stop today. A Juneteenth celebration will be held at the King Arts Complex on Friday from 11 to 3 p.m. On Saturday, the historic Mount Vernon Avenue will transform into a celebration from noon until 6 p.m. And the Juneteenth Ohio Festival returns to Genoa Park this weekend from noon to 11 p.m. All right, now for a live look over the city of Columbus tonight, where we are gearing up for the temperatures set to spike in the 90s this weekend. And tonight there's a local agency helping people to stay cool. Terry Sullivan on your side with information that you certainly need.